We are Soccerphiles Canada. Check us out by searching International Soccer Preview. Welcome to Series 30, looking at the players of the 2025 Gold Cup. This episode is looking at the players of El Salvador. Part 2, the selection. Here we go! Field review. And for new listeners, it'll be a galloping horse ride through the squad as we look at who was selected and who we think our starters are going to be. So we begin with manager Hernan Dario Gomez. And just quickly, I'll say 4 managers over the period since the last Gold Cup. Players coming in and out like crazy. And then Hernan Dario Gomez coming in right at the end. Choosing new players and not selecting players for the squad. It's crazy. We'll show you. Okay, let's go to goalkeepers. So we have definite candidate Mario Gonzalez and Thomas Romero. Gonzalez was selected for the squad. Thomas Romero, surprisingly not. We don't know why. We had a possible candidate, Oscar Pleitez. He didn't even make the preliminary squad. But 2 of our possible but unlikely candidates made the final cut. And that was Kevin Carabantes and Benji Villalobos. So those 3 goalkeepers. In terms of predictions, well, after looking at the warm-up games, things are a lot more clear. So we can be much more clear than we could have been after the end of part 1 of this media cast. So definite starter, Mario Gonzalez there. We move on to central defense, and we have 2 definite candidates, Jorge Cruz and Julio Cibrian, both of those selected for the final squad. And 2 likely candidates, Rudy Clavel and Adan Clamaco, neither of those selected. Rudy Clavel not even making the preliminary squad there. And then 4 possible candidates, Roberto Dominguez and Henry Romero, both of those selected for the final squad. Ronald Rodriguez for the preliminary squad, but Melvin Cruz not even for the preliminary squad. The 2 starters in the Gold Cup 2023, as is the case for many positions here, Eric Zabaleta and Eric Zavaleta, both of those seemingly off the squad at this point. Okay, or we had them seemingly off the squad. They weren't even named to the preliminary squad. And that's true of several starters or players in the previous Gold Cup. Let's move on to left back. No definite candidate, but we had a likely candidate in Nelson Blanco, not selected for the final squad, just the preliminary squad. However, our second one, Alexander Larin, was selected for the final squad, and so was our possible candidate, Diego Flores. And there we have definite starter. Well, we're never going to be able to predict a definite starter because there haven't been enough games under the new manager. But likely starter, Alexander Larin over here. I forgot to mention the starters in central defense. Having just said what I said, we did put Jorge Cruz and Julio Cibrian as definite starters over here, and possible starter Roberto Dominguez. So, oops, sorry about that. Let's move over to right backs. More shocks here. Definite candidate Teriso Benitez, not selected, only for the preliminary squad. Likely candidate Brian Tamakis was selected, and well, that's all we'll deal with here. So Brian Tamakis, the only one over here, and in the end we say definite starter Brian Tamakis. Yes, definite starter, and his backup will be left back Diego Flores, we think. Okay, I'm making myself look stupid by saying we didn't predict any definite starters. I think from here on we don't predict any definite starters. Okay, let's go on to the midfield. We'll run through all the positions and then talk about the starters. So we put 2 players as versatile midfielders because they appear all over the place. That's Darwin Seren and Jairo Enriquez, both of those selected for the final squad. Defensive midfielders, Christian Martinez, a definite candidate, but didn't make the final cut, that due to injury, so he is not there. Melvin Cartagena, our other definite candidate, was selected for the final squad. Possible candidate Gabriel Richvicki only made the preliminary squad there. Players coded as central midfielders, we have no definite or likely candidates. 2 possible candidates, Brian Landaverde was selected for the final squad, but but Narciso Orellana not selected for the final squad, just the preliminary squad. Players coded as left midfielders, we just had one on our list who was seemingly off the squad, Elvin Alvarado, but lo and behold, he was selected for the final squad. And then for right midfielders, we just had one candidate at the possible level, Kevin Santamaria, who did not even make the preliminary squad. Now we're ready to boil down our predictions here. After looking at the warm-up games, we think Brian Landaverde and Melvin Cartagena are likely starters. Upfield to the attacking midfield, we start with left attackers over here, and after part one on our list we had Rafael Tejada as a likely candidate. He was selected for the final squad, but that was it for possible candidates or above over here. After looking at the warm-up games, we think what we saw is versatile midfielder Jairo Enriquez and Santos Ortiz, coded as a central midfielder, playing more as a forward. Those two players, Enriquez and Ortiz, sharing the left and right attacking positions. So that's what we think. So we think Jairo Enriquez will be a likely starter on the left, Santos Ortiz a possible starter on the left, and we're going to reverse that on the right side. But let's look at the candidates first. We had no definite candidate. We had a likely candidate, Francis Castillo, only making the preliminary squad, and then two of our three possible candidates, Leonardo Menjivar, again a starter in the 2023 Gold Cup, and only making the preliminary squad, and Nathan Ordaz, who seemed favoured by the manager, started both of the all three of the warm-up games there, but it seems that he as a player for LAFC, Los Angeles FC, has to play in the Club World Cup, so not making the final cut here, though he was on the preliminary squad. So three of those candidates, Castillo, Menjivar and Ordaz, all three of them on the preliminary squad but not making the final cut. The other possible candidate, Kevin Reyes, not even making the preliminary squad, and then seemingly off the squad, Jefferson Valadares, making the cut. He's the only one here on the final squad. In terms of predictions of starters, as I said, Ortiz and Enriquez, I explained that on the left midfielders. Central attackers, we did have some candidates over here. In fact, the position was used in the three warm-up games. For candidates, we had Pablo Puñed at the possible level. He was not even selected for the preliminary squad. However, one of our players who was seemingly off the squad, Enrico Hernandez, was selected for the final squad. So another surprise there. In terms of starters, if they use the position, we think it could be versatile midfielder Darwin Seren or Jairo Enriquez. If they do use the position. Moving on to the forwards, we have two players that we put in the secondary striker category, both of them seemingly off the squad. However, both of them made the preliminary squad, and one of them, Harold Osorio, made the final cut. So Harold Osorio selected to the squad. For the main forwards, we had two likely candidates, no definite candidates, two likely candidates, Nelson Bonilla and Steven Vasquez. Nelson Bonilla not even making the preliminary squad, Steven Vasquez just the preliminary squad there. Among our three possible candidates, three of them made the final squad. Brian Gill, Emerson Mauricio, and Santos Ortiz, who we talked about earlier. The fourth one, Javier Furman, did not even make the preliminary squad. And then two of the players seemingly off the squad, Steven Guerra and Josie Rivera, both of those making the final cut. So, crazy stuff. And that brings us to the end of our Spotlight Review. Check us out by searching International Soccer Preview. We would like to thank Future Bass for the wonderful music you hear in this podcast. The title is called Alone.